Hey everyone, welcome back to Art-of-Way. In this tutorial, we are going to build a complete meditating character levitating scene inside Blender step by step. From setting up add-ons using Mixamo poses, animating levitation with graph editor, to creating magical particles, lighting, shaders and final rendering. Everything we'll cover in detail. And just in case your Blender layout looks a little different from mine, don't worry. You can grab my free custom default setup file from my Gumroad page. The link is in the video description. So without wasting any time, let's jump into Blender and start creating this awesome scene. First, we have the default scene open in Blender. Now go to Edit, click on Preference, go to Add-ons and search for Self Fracture. If you don't find it there, you can also look for it under Extension. Since I already have it in the add-ons, simply check the box to enable it, then click on this icon here and save your preference. Next, select the default cube, press tab to go into edit mode, right click and choose subdivide. Then set the number of cut to 20. After that, press F3 to search, type self fracture and click on it. Keep the default settings as they are and press OK to confirm. It will take a few seconds to generate the fracture mesh. Once that's done, select all the meshes except for original cube. In the outliner, hide the cube, and while all fracture meshes are selected, press M to choose new collection and rename the collection. I'm going to call it particles. Then click on create and Blender will move all the fracture meshes into this new collection. Now select all the fracture meshes, set the pivot point to individual origin and scale them down slightly, something like this. After that, in the outliner panel, hide the particles collection and then change the pivot point back to medium point. Now open your browser and in the search bar type Mixamo and hit search. Once you land on the Mixamo page, first log in. If you don't already have an account, sign up and then log in. This is the Mixamo homepage. Here I already have my previous uploaded custom character and I'm going to use that. But if you don't have your own character, no worries. Simply go to character section. Mixamo provide plenty of free character, you can use them. Just click on any character and it will appear inside the 3D space. Now I am going to use sitting pose. In the search bar, type sitting and scroll down until you find your preferred pose. I will use this male sitting pose, which looks very close to meditating pose. Click on it and instantly your character will be placed into that pose, something like this. Next, click on download. I am going to keep all the default settings as they are and make sure format is set to FBX. Then click on download again. Once it downloaded, open Blender, go to file, import, then select FBX as the import format, locate your downloaded character and double click on it to import it inside Blender. Now here is our character imported. Select the armature, switch to pose mode and adjust it to your desired pose. I am giving it a meditation pose, something like this. Then press A to select all the bones in the pose mode, press K and choose available. Also, if there are any extra keyframes in the timeline, make sure to delete them. Now back to object mode, let's make the character levitate. To do this, go to object data properties, move the character slightly upward on the Z axis by pressing GZ 0.1 to move it around 0.1 meter. Next, expand the timeline, switch to graph editor. After that, select the armature and in the object data properties, click on G location dot to add a keyframe. Now expand this armature, go to object transform and select the G location. Next, click on modifiers panel and add a built-in function modifier. Set the amplitude to 0.02, phase multiple to 0.08 and value offset to 0.15. After that, hit the spacebar to see the levitation animation in action, something like this. Oh, wait a second. I think the character isn't looking straight. So select the armature and press R to rotate it slightly like this and then switch back to front view. Cool, now it looks much better. Next, go to outliner, unhide the particles collection, then select all the fracture meshes, hide the character collection and move those fracture meshes outside the scene, somewhere here like this. After that, unhide the character again from the outliner. Now press Shift A, go to mesh, add a plane, go into edit mode, then press S plus X to scale it on X axis and press S plus Y to scale it on Y axis, something like this. Then go back to object mode and press Z plus Y to move it along Y axis, somewhere around here. Next, press Ctrl A to apply the scale. After that, right click and choose subdivide. Then expand the subdivide properties and set the number of cut to 100. Now back to object mode, click on add modifiers, select the subdivision surface modifier, set the level to 2. Next, click on add modifiers again and add a displace modifier. Click on new to add a texture, then click on this icon to switch over to the texture tab, set the type to clouds. Back in the viewport, right click and choose Shade Smooth. Back to texture tab again, set the size to 0.15, then back in the modifiers tab, set the strain to 0.18 and mid level to 0.65. I think something looks off. Oh, I got it. Just bring the subdivision surface effect after the displace modifier and yep, Now we have our ground surface ready. Next switch to front view and press Shift A, add a plane. From here set the alignment to view, then go to edit mode, scale it on Z axis like this, then also scale it on X axis to adjust its shape. After that go back to object mode, place it properly in your scene as per your vision, something like this. Now press Shift A, add a camera, then go back to front view and press Ctrl Alt 0 on the numpad to place the camera properly in the scene. You can also lock it and adjust the camera to capture the desired angle of the scene, something like this. Next go to the camera properties, on frame 1 set the focal into 35 and adjust the camera accordingly. Then click on this dot to add a keyframe. After that move to the last frame, set the focal into 27 and add another keyframe. Once done, finally hit the spacebar to see the camera animation in action, something like this. Now press Shift A, add an empty sphere and scale it down slightly to around this size. Rename the empty to cam focus. Next select the empty sphere and then the armature, press Ctrl P and choose object. This will parent the empty to the armature. So when the character levitates, the empty will move along with it. Now press Shift A, go to curves and add a bezier circle. Place it just below the character, scale it down slightly and adjust its location. Then parent the bezier circle to the empty sphere. This way the circle will also move along with the empty. Next, enable render view mode, go to world properties, set the strain to 0. After that, go to the render properties, click on frame to expand it and uncheck transparent. Now press Shift A, add a UV sphere, go into edit mode, scale it down like this, then return to object mode and move the sphere somewhere around here. After that, parent the sphere to the bezier circle. So now when you hit play, you will see the sphere moving along with the character's levitation animation. Finally, rename the sphere as small particles emitter just to keep the scene organized. Now go to the particles tab, add a new particle system, set the number to 200, end to 350, lifetime to 200, and lifetime randomness to 0.25. Next click on render to expand it, set the render as to collection and in the instance collection choose the particles, the collection we created earlier. Then set the scale to 0.40 and scale randomness to 0.650. Now when you hit play, you will see the sphere emitting particles, but we actually want the particles to follow the bezier circle. So select the bezier circle, go to the physics tab and click on force field, set the type to curve guide. Now when you hit play again, the particles will perfectly fly along with the bezier circle. But in my case, I feel the particles look a little too small. So let's fix the scale. Set the scale to 0.065. Also uncheck show emitter in the render and then expand the viewport and uncheck show emitter there as well. Next expand the velocity section. Play around with the randomize and object velocity values to add some variation. Then enable rotation and expand it. Adjust randomize, phase and randomize phase value to your preference. Also expand the angular velocity, enable dynamic, set the amount value to 1.5. Once you are happy with all the particle settings, expand the cache section and click on bake. It will take just a few seconds to finish baking. Now select the bezier circle, press M, then click on new collection, type force field and press enter to create and move the bezier circle into this collection. Once created, uncheck the box to disable it in your scene. This is a very important step because when you move to the next step and add another force field, this will prevent any unwanted particles issue. Next press Shift A, go to curves, look for spiral. Oh wait, if you don't see the spiral option, simply go to edit, click on preference and in the search panel type extra. And from here, enable both the built-in Blender add-ons related to extra object. Then click on this icon here and save your preference. Now press Shift A, go to curves and you will find the new option available. Select the spiral and choose Archimedean. Expand the curve spiral properties and set the turn to 4, radius to 0.40 and height to 0.45. Now adjust the spiral scale and place it properly in your scene, something like this. Also rotate the spiral so that the start point is just behind the character. Then move the spiral slightly downward, making sure the start point of the particles is positioned just behind the character's head like this. Next, unhide the cube and delete it. After that, press Shift A, go to Mesh, add a sphere object, right click and choose Shade Smooth. Then move into Edit mode, scale it down to somewhere around this size and place the sphere at the starting point of the spiral like this. Now go to Particle System tab and click on this plus icon to add a new particle system. Then click on this drop down icon and choose the previously made particle system. After that, click on this number 2 icon to make it a separate particle system while keeping the same previous settings. Next, select the spiral, go to Physics tab, click on Force Field, set the type to Curve Guide. Now hit the spacebar to see the particles in action. But here, I feel the particles are quite small in size. So select the particles, go back to Particles Properties tab, under Render, set the scale to 0.150 and adjust the scale randomness slightly. Then scroll up and change the number of particles as per your choice. Also change the lifetime to around 400. And interestingly, this somehow controls the speed of the particles. The higher the lifetime value, the slower the particle movement becomes. Anyways, adjust the value and play around with all the essential settings until you find your desired particle effect. And I am pretty happy with these settings. Now uncheck show emitter in both the render and viewport display. So the emitter object, which is the sphere, will be hidden from both the viewport and the final render. And that's it, your levitating character with particles effect is ready. Hit the spacebar to see the animation in action. Now let's move to the lighting and texturing part. Go to the shading editor panel, press 0 on the numpad to see through the camera view and enable render view mode. Right now the scene looks black because we don't have any light yet. So in the outliner, select the BG-rate plane and click on new to add a new material. Rename it as BG-rate, then select the principal BSDF node and delete it. Next, press Shift A, search for emission node and add it. Place it here and connect the emission node to surface. Then, press Shift A again, search for hue saturation node and add it. Connect the color to color, set the saturation to 2 and value to 0.5. Also, change the base color to red and set the strain to 1.2. Next, click on this drop down icon and set the compositor to camera. Then, move to the compositor editor panel, add a glare node like this, and after that, press Shift A. Search for lens distortion node and add it. Set the distortion to 0.01 and dispersion to 0.02 and also enable fit. Now go back to the shading editor panel, select the ground plane and click on new to add a new material. Rename it as ground and choose any base color of your choice for now. Next, select the particles, go to the particles properties, click on bake and it will take a few seconds to bake. Then select the spiral, rename it as big particles path and move it into the force field disable collection, enable that collection and also rename the bezier circle as small particle path and disable it again. Now select the empty sphere, bring the cursor to selection and then press Shift A, click on light and add a point light. Move it upward somewhere here, then go to light properties, set the radius to 0.45 and power to 10.5. Also, enable render view mode, select the point light, press Shift D to duplicate it and move it upward somewhere around here. Then go to light properties, change the base color to green or whatever looks best for your scene. Next, click on this drop down icon and in the compositor, choose camera here as well in the viewport. After that, as you can see, the light is falling all over the character. But it's not quite as expected. In the outliner, hide the particles, then go to the render properties, expand the color management and set the view transform to Chronos PBR Noter and look to very high contrast. And now this looks much closer to your vision. Next, select the ground plane. In the material tab, set the base color to white. Next, press Shift A, go to mesh, add a cube, scale it down and place it just below the character. Then switch to edit mode, press Ctrl R to add a loop cut. Drag it down like this, then go to modifiers tab and set the subdivision level to 3. Back in the viewport, right click and choose shade smooth. Now select this point light and duplicate it by pressing Shift A, moving it just behind the back of the character, somewhere around here. Next, go to the light properties, set the base color to warm tone and adjust the radius to 0.25 and set the power to 5. Next, press Shift A, go to mesh, add a cube and scale it around the size of the ground plane so it covers the entire scene. Then move it upward like this. Select the cube, go to object data properties, click on viewport display, set the display as to wire. After that, go to shading editor panel. In the outliner, rename it as fog and also rename the earlier cube to setting stone. Then click on new to add a new material. Next, select the principal BSDF node and delete it. Add a principal volume node, connect the volume to volume, set the density to 0.02, emission to 0.01 and set the emission color to light blue. Oh, wait a second, nothing is changing inside the scene. Why is that so? Okay, I found the issue. I accidentally selected the setting stone and applied this material to it. Let's fix it. Switch this material back to setting stone, then select the fog object, click on this icon and choose fog material. Now just play around with the emission strength and black body intensity to get our desired look. Here are the final node values I'm using. And that's it, this is the same scene I had made earlier for the shorts and reel or for the vertical videos. But in this case, we are going to move ahead and create a slightly different look for the scene. Now select the backplane, press Shift D to duplicate it and move it to the right side somewhere around here. Then switch to edit mode, select this vertex and move it upward like this. Next, select this vertex and press Ctrl X to dissolve it. Switch back to object mode, move it slightly downwards so that it's visible in the camera view. After that, go to the modifiers tab, add a mirror modifier, and in the mirror object, select the busy red object to make it visible on both sides. Next, select the character, and in the material tab, change the white base color to dark gray, almost close to black. Then select the eye material, and from here, switch the principal BSDF node to the emission node. Next, select one of the point light and change its color to dark blue. Then select the other point light and change its color to light blue. Right now, I'm just experimenting, playing and messing around with the lights and colors to bring out something cool. Now select the round plane, go to the Blender Kit search bar, switch it to material search, type lava and enter. And choose Lava Rock by James Middleton. And if you don't already have the Blender Kit add-on, check out the video link to the right corner of your screen where I have shown the complete download and installation process. You can also find both the video link and the official Blender Kit add-on website link in the description of this video. Anyways, back to topic. In the outliner, expand the particles collection and search for emission. Then choose the Rainbow Edge Emission by Paco Salas. Next, unhide the particles collection and select all the fracture meshes. And at last, select the fracture mesh that already have material applied. Then press Ctrl L and choose Link Material. And that's it, the material is now applied to the particles effect. Now let's animate the lava. For that, select the round plane, go to Texture Properties, and on frame 1, change the size to 0.14 and add a keyframe. Then move to the last frame, set the size to 0.18 and add another keyframe. Hit the spacebar to preview and you will see the ground lava animation in action. Next, select this point light, go to light properties, change it from point light to area light, rotate it 90 degrees to focus its light on the backside of the character. Also, change the shape to disk and set the size to 1. Now select the middle point light and change its base color to white. After that, select the shading zone and delete it. We don't need it anymore. Then go to the shading editor panel, select the fog object and change its emission color to blue. Next, select the side plane, go into edit mode, select this edge and move it like this to make a thinner nail-like shape. Then select the background plane, add some loop cuts and select the edge lines one after another. After that, scale them outward to create some shape variation. Now select this point light, change it from point light to area light. Then select the back area light, duplicate it and move it slightly backward like this. Change it to point light, set the power to 15.5, radius to 0.25. Adjust the base color to blue and also reduce the power slightly around 12.5. If you want, you can also rename the lights to keep your scene well organized. Finally, select the top area light, change the shape to disk, set the size to 0.85 and increase the power to around 25.5. Oh wait, we can do one more thing. Select this back plane, go to vertex properties and add 2 shape keys. Rename them as close and open. Now select the close shape, move to edit mode, press S plus X plus 0, then go back to object mode. When you drag the value 0 to 1, you will see the cool effect where the plane opens and closes. So let's animate it. On frame 160, set the value to 1 and add a keyframe. Then move to last frame, set the value to 0 and add another keyframe. After that, select all the keyframes, move the start keyframe to frame 80 and set the end frame to 260. Now finally, go to output properties, set your output path, and here are my output file format settings. And that's it, we have finished building our levitating meditating character scene in Blender. You now have a character floating in mid-air with magical particles, animated lava ground, lighting setup, and cinematic render ready result. I hope this tutorial gave you new ideas and technique to use it in your own Blender projects. If you did like to explore further, you guys can get this complete Blender file directly from my Gumroad page. The link is available in the video description below. Thanks for watching and as always, keep creating, keep experimenting and I will see you in the next video. Until then, follow Abhi for more.